Thank you for tuning in. I'm really looking forward to this video. It's something very up and coming in my awareness and consciousness in general. I just finished watching Jeff and Shleia put out their second podcast, really powerful, on their discovery of being neurodivergent this last April. And very powerful. They're just very frank in their discussion about their exploration of neurodivergence. I'll put a link in the bottom so that you can watch it. It really is very helpful. There's, as they say, a lot more people in society that are neurodivergent than is recognized. And it's a spectrum, as many people know. So the way it's going to show up is different for everyone. I'm going to make a caveat. I'm not an expert in this. I'm just going to be speaking from my personal experience um, and go from there. So basically, I'll admit Deanna, my beautiful twin flame, has been a big part of my realizing and coming to awareness about autism. She has Instagram autistic integrity and has been exploring this. Well, I guess what is it since um, August of 23, around that time when a lot of people in Twin Flames universe started, talking about it publicly. It invited us to think about it and talk about it. Um, and Deanna took the first dive, and I really appreciated it and just went, pretty much all in with, exploring. And we kind of had this light bulb like, oh my gosh, the way we respond to the world has a lot to do with being neuro just divergent, just differently wired, uniquely, beautifully wired. For me, when I watch the video, I identify a lot with um, being a high HSP, highly sensitive person, and a lot of what autism has to offer is a gift. And that's what I want to share. So I've had my own journey with it, because the way it shows up in me is not the way I see it in Deanna, the way I see it in really anyone else. It's a completely unique journey for me. And so I'll just share a little bit about mostly it makes me very highly sensitive. And the more I own it and embrace it, it becomes such a wonderful gift for me and everyone involved, I find. Um, so I only just started actually publicly telling people. Well, at first it was my YouTube video. You'll see autism as a superpower. That was my first time actually mentioning it publicly, and that was so liberating and such a gift to finally say that. Then I said it during, a conflict resolution meeting at my last job at Lazy Boy, and that was helpful to publicly say that as I felt the relief. And then I said it to a men's group and literally bawled when I said it aloud there because I was, I had so much embarrassment. I didn't realize. And as Shalia said, it can be hard for a person to talk about autism because how it's framed in the media on TV shows or Rain Man, or it's not a full picture since it's a spectrum. And you don't want to put an image in someone's mind that's inaccurate of who you are. You want to be seen for who you truly are. But I've actually found that telling people about autism has helped, only helped, because it is a real thing and it impacts my experience of the world. And I need to share it to feel safe and to feel comfortable and to feel respected. So, anyways, I shared it in those environments, my men's group. I was so loved and supported, but it was a big deal. I just kind of like it just slipped out of my mouth, and I was like, um, well, I forgot I shared it with a therapist too, but that was not necessarily a public setting. But I received a lot of support from her too, and that was healing. But I cried at my men's group, and everyone was so welcoming. And I just literally, at first, I had to move through those feelings of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just said that. And then it was like literally no big deal. I was like, it's no big deal. And I'm just so glad I said it because now I feel truly like comfortable in this space. Um, it's so important. Like, and this is a process. Like I said, Dan and I started exploring this like August, September of 23, and it's, you know, like this was, we're talking about like March and April of 2025, and this is, me finally being public about it. And that's okay. Like it is a process, and the more that people share, the more that people talk about their journey, the easier it will be. So I started a new job, as many people know, and I came out autistic a lot quicker. And I still haven't come out to everybody, but to most people. And basically, how it started is, I'm in roofing, and you get a lot of younger guys, and I'm new and I'm learning so much all at once. And so I would go into work, and it's just, I realized at a certain point, like the work environment started getting very rowdy, and I got very like dysregulated, I guess you could say. Um, and because I had so much work that I needed to do, and I require a highly focused environment, I'm very sensitive. And so I didn't quite know how to ask for what I needed, but it was clear that my frustration level was rising. I made a couple like small comments about it, wasn't really heard. I tried to go into other rooms, was still hearing lots of noises, unable to focus. So basically, I just blew up at everybody. Not really blew up by Dan's standards, which I just said, but I laid it out straight. I was very strict and very stern that needed I needed everyone to be more respectful and quiet, and that I absolutely could not do my work. And I said it in a very, very strong way, and everyone respected me and heard me. But then I really felt God say, "You need to just tell them." Because it's like I just kept hearing this voice, like, "Just tell them, just tell them." And I was like, "Okay, I guess it's already time. I just getting to know these guys." Um, but someone had mentioned being, autistic in the workplace before, so I was like, "There's already an awareness of autism here, so I feel like safe." And so during lunch that day, I just said, "By the way, I don't have any diagnosis or anything, but I think I'm on the spectrum, and so." I do require like if things get, too loud or too intense, like, I really need more help focusing, and I'm going to say something. you know. Um and I'm so glad I did because, I felt in these instances how it took me a long time to calm down. I was like, oh, this is what it means to be dysregulated. Like I had to just now spend all this time calming myself down and becoming peaceful again. But it was, but I still am proud of myself. I spoke up in the moment, and I just explained myself fully so I could receive the support I needed. And I realized it could be that simple. Not a big deal. We all learned and moved on, and I've had to maybe speak up a couple more times, but it's gotten way better. And I'm also the type of person who often speaks up, like, you know, I I heard some things being said that were not necessarily workplace appropriate, and I was able to just, bring that's the highly sensitive, just bring a higher awareness to my work about, this is I agree with having fun. This is what, there are certain boundaries in workplaces that need to be respected. And I've just gotten a lot more comfortable speaking up with love, because like I really do love the people I work with, really good people. But as a highly sensitive person, I need to accept that I'm often going to be bringing a big gift to the room. And I need to just be comfortable sharing it. And that's what this is about. And that's why I made that video. Autism is a superpower. When you learn to really love your difference and your uniqueness, then you're okay sharing it. And I've learned I'm going to be that sensitive person environment who has maybe, higher awarenesses that I just need to share. The key is you need to be comfortable sharing it and speaking up. And that comes through a process of loving and accepting yourself. I realize I'm worthy of feeling good in the place of my work. And to feel good, there are certain boundaries that need to be respected. And they're actually boundaries that are just healthy to have in general. And I need to have the courage to say them because they're especially potent for me. I know I'm not the only one being impacted by these things. I could actually tell some other people were being impacted by some of the things I mentioned, but I was being really impacted. And that's the gift of autism. We're the ones to speak up and to bring that change and to um, be that gift in an environment. And it really is a matter of being okay, being different, being okay with who you are, and loving how you are, realizing, embracing, I am a gift. The way I am is a gift to the world, and I choose to just accept myself and to offer the gifts freely. And I've just gotten a lot more comfortable just in general. Like even today, like I met someone at church, and we were having a conversation, and I realized, because being social is something I enjoy well, it just depends on the situation. But I've chosen to be very socially aware of how I feel. I really don't want to fake it anymore. I want to have real, honest interaction. So I noticed at a certain point that I just had my social battery was basically complete. And instead of trying to continue a conversation that I didn't have the capacity for anymore, I just told Deanna, "Oh, I think it's time for us to go shopping." And I actually probably waited a little too long for that. I recognized I was like more than than done. So it's a process of learning. But it's about speaking up and it's about becoming more in tune with myself and just being myself, you know? Uh, and this is how I realize I often am in conversations. Like, um, I will just walk away when I'm done because I honor myself and I honor how I feel good. And it's not personal, but I have a certain capacity and I need to honor that because the thing I put first and foremost is feeling good, feeling well. And I can only give that to myself. And really learning that, I've learned to let go of what people think about me or anything like that. And that's, Jeff and Shay talk about this. The whole idea of a mask is trying to find a way to be socially acceptable, but it's not worth the price. For one thing, like what I have to share is valuable and needed in the world. And so I want to give that gift. And I don't care if people like me or not, because I like myself when I share who I am. And so, yeah, that's basically, this is just something really quick. I just wanted to share about my journey. I'm sure I could share more, but it's really important. The key, and this is what Jeff and Shay say, the key is you need to love yourself. And I mentioned this in my video, autism as a superpower. Like, if you're neurodivergent in any way, well, really anybody, you have to, but especially when you're neurodivergent, because you're all often different, not really fully understood in the world, you have to have a process of loving and caring for your unique way of being. Um, and that's a whole nother story, but you just need to like really recognize who you are and be okay. If you're the type that needs to speak out, stand up for yourself, take space for yourself, love and nurture yourself in certain ways, um, whatever it is, have certain boundaries to what you can handle, just loving yourself. It's really important. So I encourage you to watch this video from Jeff and Shalia. They have resources that might help you to explore if you're neurodivergent or not, and to help you really just to help release any stigma about it because you know they are amazing, beautiful. Really, everyone's amazing and beautiful. It's not about, you don't have to feel bad at all about you. They talk about your hardwire. You're just wired differently. It's not something you can change about yourself. It's something you have to accept because it's part of who you are. And that's huge. So it just requires your acceptance. You need to learn about that part of yourself and learn how to love yourself. So thank you so much for watching. That's all I have to say about this for now. I wish you so many blessings, and I will see you next time.